Hello everyone, welcome to Currentaffairs Hub. So in this IPM series, we are today discussing daily MCQs and answer writing practice questions for UPSC examination based on current affairs sources picked from leading newspapers like Hindu Indian Express and PIB. Now going into the today's discussion. Question number 1. Which of the following statements is or correct regarding compressed biogas? Statement 1. Compressed biogas is produced naturally through a process of anaerobic decomposition from waste or biomass sources and it has pure methane content of over 90%. Statement 2. Compressed biogas will increase the dependence on chemical fertilizers for farmers. Statement 3. Compressed biogas is exactly similar to the commercially available natural gas in its composition and energy potential. Select the correct answer using the code given below. Friends, take your time and answer this question. Have you answered this question? This compressed biogas came in today's Hindi editorial where they talk about the advantages of this compressed biogas, and this also appeared in the context of stubble burning. And regarding stubble burning, we have already discussed much in detail in our IPM series, because this stubble burning happens in the states of Punjab, Haryana, where farmers, after harvesting rice, the left out paddy fields, they burn the paddy stalks. Because of that, the burnt air is released into the upper atmosphere and this air gets descended in the regions of Delhi, causing a very poor air quality in Delhi. So to mitigate this, government has introduced various measures such as incentive and executive method. Regarding the incentive method, we have discussed about PUSA biodecomposer solution, whereas regarding executive method, we have talked about paddy pellet scheme. So today's article, compressed biogas, is also an example of this executive method. Is it clear? And how this compressed biogas is generated? Friends, what happens is that here we will collect the paddy stalks from the farmers in the agricultural fields and we will take it to a plant where we will compress these paddy stalks along with other waste such as solid municipal waste, even other agricultural waste residues such as even sugarcane based waste also, and we will compress them and we will keep it in a plant or container in the absence of oxygen. So in that anaerobic condition, a gas will be released because paddy stalks, sugarcane and municipal solid waste basically contains carbon, hydrogen. So in the absence of oxygen, they release methane, and this methane can be collected because this compressed biogas contains more than 90% of methane and it has its characteristics similar to the compressed natural gas which we are importing from other countries. So using this compressed natural biogas will reduce our import dependence. In addition to that, waste can be used into a wealth. So it forms an example of circular economy. In addition to that, government has a separate scheme called SATAT, that is Sustainable Alternative Towards Affordable Transportation Scheme. So this compressed biogas forms a best example of this SATAT scheme, where the major 4 objectives are: number 1 is to utilize the waste into energy, number 2 is to reduce the pollution, number 3 is to reduce the import bill, number 4 is to boost the employment generation in the country. So with this objective, this compressed biogas is promoted in the country. Is it fine? Now going into this particular question. Number 1. Compressed biogas is produced naturally through a process of anaerobic decomposition from waste or biomass and it has pure methane content of over 90%. That is correct, right? That's what we have discussed till now. And going into the second statement, compressed biogas will increase the dependence on chemical fertilizers for farmers. Friends, here what you need to understand is that, as I said, the paddy stock which is collected and in the container in the anaerobic conditions, after the gas has been generated and collected, the left out waste we call it as slurry, and this can be used in the agriculture as an organic manure. So farmers no need to use chemical fertilizers, or they can reduce the usage of chemical fertilizers. Is it clear? So this particular statement talks about increasing the dependence on chemical fertilizers, which is completely wrong. So you can eliminate statement 2 and look at the options given below. Statement A, which contains 2, can be eliminated, and statement B, which contains 2, can be eliminated. So the correct answer lies between option C and D, and we know already very well that statement 1 is completely right. So 1 has to be in the answer. So the correct answer countries? Option D 1 and 3 only. Is it clear? Now we will cross verify the third statement again. Compressed biogas is exactly similar to the commercially available natural gas in its composition and energy potential. That is also correct. Now moving on to the next question. With reference to Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, consider the following statements. Number 1. Iran signed the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action agreement with USA, Russia, France, China, UK, Japan and European Union. Statement 2. Iran agreed under Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action to allow inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency to access its nuclear sites and ensure it would not be able to develop nuclear weapons in secret. Statement 3. The 2015 Iran nuclear deal was signed under President Barack Obama and dismantled in 2018 by President Donald Trump. Which of the statements given above are correct? Friends, take your time and answer this question. Have you answered this question? This also came in today's Hindu newspaper related to an article which talks about reviving the Iran nuclear deal, because currently this Iran nuclear deal is not in active condition. So to know the backdrop regarding Iran nuclear deal, first this deal was signed in 2015 between P5 plus 2 countries, that is a permanent 5 countries, which includes USA, Britain, France, China, Russia, and the other 2 countries are Germany and European Union. In addition to that, Iran is also part of this agreement. Is it clear? So it is an agreement between Iran and P5 plus 2 countries, and they signed this agreement in 2015 during the presidency of Barack Obama. And the main objective behind signing this agreement is because the Western countries like USA, they felt that Iran is misusing its nuclear energy facilities and it is increasing the enrichment of uranium for developing nuclear bombs. So they imposed a ban on other countries to import Iranian oil. So India also suffered because of this economic sanctions, and Iranian economy suffered the worst. Oil is the major export bill for Iran, and when it is unable to sell to other countries, its economy suffered the worst because of inflation. Overcome this, Iran also wanted to go into an agreement with these countries. So they signed an agreement in 2015. But after President Obama's tenure, when Trump came into the USA president, he unilaterally made USA to come out of the deal and made the deal into dormant. So now there has been a new USA president under Joe Biden, and he wanted to revive the Iran nuclear deal or Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. So regarding that, meetings are happening in Vienna. Now going into this particular question, statement 1. Iran signed the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action agreement with USA, Russia, France, China and UK. Those are the P5 countries, permanent 5 countries of UNSC, and Japan and European Union. That is wrong because it is Germany and European Union. Is it clear? So you can eliminate the statement 1. Once you eliminate it, look at the options given below. Option A, which contains 1, can be eliminated. Option C, which contains 1, can be eliminated, and option D, which contains 1, can be eliminated, and the correct answer here is option B, 2 and 3 only. You can cross verify this again also. Read the second statement. Iran agreed under Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action to allow inspectors from IAEA. Yes, because under this agreement, Western countries also made sure that Iran should not develop the nuclear weapons, and for that what they did is that they restricted stocks of centrifuges uranium enrichment inside the nuclear facilities, and the uranium should be enriched only at to a minimum level for peaceful electricity purposes. So for that, an independent body called International Atomic Energy will inspect the country periodically, and that was also agreed by Iran because of the economic benefit it got. So second statement is also correct here, but first statement is wrong. Now moving into the third statement, 2015 Iran nuclear deal was signed under President Barack Obama, dismantled in 2018 by President Donald Trump. That is correct. So that second and third statement here is correct. So the option B is the correct answer. Now moving on to the next question. Consider the following statements. Number 1. Free trade agreement involves a free trade policy where goods and services can be bought and sold across international borders with little or no government tariffs, quotas, subsidies or prohibitions to inhibit their exchange. Statement 2. Preferential trade agreement involves 2 or more partners to give preferential right of entry to certain products, and this is done by reducing duties on an agreed number of tariff lines. Statement 3. Comprehensive economic cooperation agreement is more comprehensive than comprehensive economic partnership agreement. Which of the statements given above are correct? Friends, take your time and answer this question. Have you answered this question? This also came with respect to the election of new Prime Minister of Britain, Rishi Sunak, who is an Indian origin, where they say that the prospects of India signing free trade agreement with Britain is now more, because even during the former tenure of Boris Johnson, a roadmap for 2030 has been agreed, where they wanted to sign free trade agreement with India by the deadline of this year Deepavali, but which he was unable to do. So the new UK Prime Minister will sign this agreement. That is the prospects we are looking upon with respect to Britain. Now, with respect to UPSC, we should know the basics of this free trade and other agreements. Friends, first stage in the trade agreement is a preferential trade agreement, where two countries will agree such that they will trade few goods at a very reduced import tax, that is the reduced tariff lines will be agreed. So that we call it as preferential trade agreement. Suppose India can say to USA that we will be putting the import tax for Apple at a preferential rate, and USA will say as a reciprocal measure to India, your textile products we will be giving preferential access by having very low tariff lines. Is it clear? This is how the preferential trade agreement works. But when it comes to free trade agreement, almost like maximum goods, services, where the not only the tariffs, that is taxes, in addition the non-tariffs, that is the quotas or volume of goods which will be traded in a country, that will not be restricted, and the barriers to these tariff and non-tariffs will be such that it will be eliminated completely, or the taxes will be kept in such a way it is very bare minimum, that is near to zero. This is how a free trade agreement works, and currently India and Britain is looking for signing this free trade agreement only. Is it clear? And the third stage is comprehensive economic cooperation agreement. Here the two countries sign agreement related to goods, services, trade and investment. And the final thing is the comprehensive economic partnership agreement. This is considered to be the much more comprehensive than the other three. Reason is because here the countries will not just agree in terms of trade in goods, services or investment, rather they will also look for joint partnership in production of goods and services. Is it clear? So this is the basic difference. Now going into this question, statement 1, free trade agreement involves a free trade policy where the goods and services will be little or no government tariffs. That is correct. Now moving into the second statement, preferential trade agreement involves two or more partners to give preferential right of entry to certain products, and this is done by reducing the duties, that is the taxes. That is also correct. Now moving into the third statement, comprehensive economic cooperation agreement is more comprehensive than comprehensive economic partnership agreement. That is completely wrong, because as per our discussion what we have discussed, comprehensive economic partnership agreement is considered to be more comprehensive than this cooperation agreement. So you can eliminate third statement. Look at the options below. Option B, which contains 3, can be eliminated. Option C, which contains 3, can be eliminated, and option D, which contains 3, can be eliminated. So the correct answer here is option A, 1 and 2 only. Now moving into the next question. With reference to solar eclipse, consider the following statements. Number 1, a solar eclipse occurs when moon is positioned in between the sun and earth. Statement 2, there is no direct hazard or harm to watch solar eclipse with naked eye. Which of the statements given above is or correct? Friends, take your time and answer this question. Have you answered this question? Yesterday a partial solar eclipse happened in India, and with respect to that an article has appeared in the Hindu newspaper. But when we consider the UPSC preliminary examination, in your geographical segment, the basis of solar system and universe, this particular question can be asked. Fine. Now how does a solar eclipse happens? When moon comes in between the sun and earth, and this comes in a straight line. During that time what will happen? The sun solar radiation, which is now falling on the moon, and the moon shadow will be coming and falling on the earth's surface. Due to that an eclipse will appear, but due to the larger size of sun, edges of the sun will be visible from the earth's surface. That's why we say a partial solar eclipse. This is how it happens, and during that time you should not observe the solar eclipse with naked eye. Is it clear? Because this will affect our vision. Now going into the statement, statement 1, a solar eclipse occurs when the moon is positioned between the sun and earth. That is correct. Second statement, there is no direct hazard or any harm to watch solar eclipse with naked eye. That is completely wrong. So you can eliminate statement 2, and the first statement is correct. So the correct answer is option A, 1 only. Is it clear? Now moving into the next question. With reference to production linked incentive scheme, consider the following statements. Number 1, PLI scheme was conceived to scale up domestic manufacturing capability accompanied by higher import substitution and employment generation. Statement 2, PLI scheme was launched in March 2020 and the scheme initially targeted 3 industries but it has now been expanded to 16 sectors. Statement 3. PLI scheme supports the labor intensive sectors and aims to increase the employment ratio in India. Select the correct answer using the code given below. Friends, take your time and answer this question. Have you answered this question? This also came in today's Hindu newspaper in the economic section, where the India's trade with China is improving, especially with respect to our export growth in percentage terms, it's improving, and the import growth is actually decreasing. The main reason behind that they are saying is the PLI scheme. So for your UPSC examination, this PLI scheme is very important, and this PLI scheme was first launched in our country in 2020, where they stresses upon giving incentives to the domestic manufacturers. The reason behind is they wanted to encourage the manufacturing activities within India so that will reduce the import dependence, and to encourage this the government has announced incentives for selected sectors in India. So in an initial stage the government targeted only 3 sectors. You can remember by the name of MOM, where the code O you can replace it by E, that is MEM, that is medical equipments, electrical items and mobile manufacturing. So initially it was done only for these targeted sectors, but as of now it has been expanded to 14 sectors. Is it clear? And the main objective behind also doing the scheme is that not only to promote the exports but also to promote more manufacturing and employment generation in our country. So we are targeting mostly on the labor intensive sectors. For example, now we have included textiles also under this segment. Now going into this question, statement 1. PLI scheme was conceived to scale up domestic manufacturing accompanied by high import substitution and employment generation. That is correct. Statement 2. PLI scheme was launched in 2020 and the scheme initially targeted 3 industries. That is correct, but it has now been expanded to 16 sectors, which is wrong because it has been expanded only to 14 sectors. Is it clear? So you can eliminate this second statement and look at the option given below. Option A, which contains 2, can be eliminated. Option B, which contains 2, can be eliminated, and option D, which contains 2, can be eliminated. And the correct answer here is option C, 1 and 3 only. And you can cross verify the third statement. PLI scheme supports the labor intensive sectors and aims to increase the employment ratio in India. That is also correct. Now moving into the today's mains answer writing practice session. Examine the impact of climatic change on the occurrence of heat waves in India. 10 marks, answer in 150 words. Friends, you need to answer this particular question in 1.5 page or maximum up to 2 pages. And since this question was asked in our geographical segment, you need to mandatorily draw diagrams. Is it clear? And while drawing the diagram, you can include the concept of heat waves, how the heat waves occur in India. You know very well, these heat waves occur in India in the time period of summer season, that is March to June, when the sun's rays fall directly on the Tropic of Cancer. So during that time what happens is that due to the high incoming solar radiation which comes from the sun, the air particles get heated up in this Earth's surface. So they will be having high temperature and low pressure. Due to that they will start rising, whereas in the upper atmosphere there will be high pressure which will be prevailing. Due to that, these convective currents which are rising from the Earth's surface gets blocked up in the upper atmosphere and they get reflected back to the Earth's surface. So due to this, a regular pattern of reflection from the upper atmosphere, the heat gets trapped to the Earth's surface and they get heated up. So an additional heat waves or temperature increase will be noted in the country. This is how a heat wave occurs. Is it clear? And due to the climatic change, these heat waves are affected in 3 manners with respect to magnitude, frequency and intensity, and you can talk about that. So with the help of diagrams, in addition to that, while examining the impact, you need to quote the relevant data. Especially in today's Hindu newspaper, they talk about a Lancet report where due to the increasing temperature or increasing usage of combustion fuels, around 3.5 people have died in India, and due to heat waves, the effect on industries is such that many people who skipped the work, due to that Indian economic GDP has been affected by 5%. So you can quote all this and you can say how much this negative impact has happened in India. Is it clear? So this is how we approach this particular geographical question which comes in your GS Mains paper 1 segment. So we will meet in tomorrow's session, friends, and thanks for watching.